I'm trying out a different streaming software. Let's see how this goes. The color you are trying to reach is out of range. What? Oh. Well, how's everything look? I'm trying a different streaming software. Oh, that didn't work, did it? Huh, why is that not working? That's weird. Let's try to get it set up. Oh, there we go. It froze. Is the text on the screen big enough that you can read it? Because I tried to set it up so that the chat shows up on the screen. Although if you abuse that, I will take it away. But I'm wondering if it is large enough to read. Blends with the background. All right, give me just a second here. Let me see if I can update this. That's not what I need. That's what I need. Where is the font size? Font size. Let's try that. See if that. Well, there's a lag anyways. You just don't realize it because, yeah, there's always a lag, Nate. You don't realize it because you don't see it when you type it, but I'm always, you're always a second behind. Anyways, it's not showing up as a lag for me necessarily. All right, would you mind, well, here. Is that easier to read? No, same webcams as always. I'm using the same webcams. I'm just, okay, cool. And I can change it so it has a background and stuff. I just figured it kind of works with the white background. Oh, it is white on white, you're right. I can change the color. That's a good point. That's a good point. Let's see here. Let's change the... Ooh, what color should make the text? I could just make it black. Or I could make it like... No, we're gonna go black. Just a second here. See if that works any better. Hello! I'm trying out a new streaming software, and I'm trying to get it set up so that we can have the chat on the screen. I literally made a spur-of-the-moment decision like 20 minutes before the stream. Oh, did I save the settings? Yes. So I'm just typing things into the... Okay. Alright, now it's black. You've made mistakes. Hello, welcome to the stream. Yeah, there we go. And that's readable? I figured that was nice. That way, when I save these videos, it will actually have the chat too, because of the way things save on Twitch. Right? I was like, I was trying to figure out how I could like maybe set it up so that, you know, I could have most recent follower or the chat or something like that show up, and I finally just came to the decision to download a different software for it. Alright, let me... Cool. Hello, particular bosun. Did you make a mistake by coming to my Twitch stream? I hope that's not a mistake. Here, I'll show you guys what I'm working on. I have a set of commission dice that I've been working on, and it's going to be kind of space. It's going to be kind of space themed, and then the D20 is going to have a bunny rabbit in it, and I made a D20 with a bunny rabbit in it. See if I can show it to you. Hey, that's strange. I feel like it found it better in this software. I don't know why it did that. Anyways, I made one with a bunny rabbit in it, but it was a little bit bigger than the person that I'm making it for wanted. And so I'm gonna make a few changes. Make a slightly smaller bunny rabbit, make it a little bit smoother, make it with like the ears up. That's the plan anyways. My hands are all dusty. I've been cleaning out a rock tumbler right before this. Hello, Zeotetop. That's fun to say, Zeotetop. Wow, everyone's here. It's a whole party. So I have other colors here. This is left over from the project we worked on Wednesday. Here, there's people here I feel like weren't here on Wednesday. I'll show you what we made. So on Wednesday, we made this guy, also for an order that came in. So he's going to get baked. I'll probably bake him and the bunny rabbits tonight, and then put together. I'm clanking around. We're going to put like beads in between the arms and the main body, but it's going to be a necklace. But, so yeah, the goat Dorito! Hey, he's going to get baked. Oh, your dad saw the mushroom necklace that you got from my store? Well, I mean, if he's interested in getting something, yeah. He needs to be crispy. So yeah, the plan is to try and make one or two little bunny rabbits that are slightly smaller than this guy. And then I also want to do some very simple resin tests tonight, in that I want to try out making some different green colors. Quite honestly, I feel like green is the hardest color for me to get in resin, because, here, let me show you, I have all my colorants right here. So there's greens here, but these greens that you can see are all opaque greens. Oops, these are all opaque greens. The green alcohol ink that I have, let me find it right here. Yeah, that's the green quote-unquote alcohol ink that I have, and it's kind of teal. So I want to get a translucent green for a different set of dice that someone ordered. And I want to figure out the right combination of blue and yellow to get it, since I don't have a good translucent green color. Even I've gotten different greens from different places, and there's just not a good green. I did the other day, had some leftover resin, and I mixed some yellow. Oh, it's kind of hard to see there. It looks very dark, but it's wow, it just looks black there, but it is a dark green. See if I can, oh there, it kind of shows up a little bit better next to my face. If you look over by my face, just a little bit more light behind it. Ah, it's trying to escape. But I cooked. Oh man, I just saw cook in the chat and it threw me off. I had some leftover resin, and so I just mixed some of the green alcohol ink I have that's kind of teal and some yellow. And did actually get a green, but I don't remember how much of each I mixed together. And the problem is that when I mix it, it still looks blue until it cures. So I'm going to do some experiments, add like a drop of blue, add 2 drops of yellow, see how that looks, add 3 drops of yellow, see how that looks. And we'll try and get a good green. So, and it's an actual science experiment because we're going to write it down. That's what an actual science experiment is, right? That's the main difference between science and doing stuff, is writing it down. What has everybody else been up to this week? Anything fun? Alright. So I want to make it smaller than this one. I feel like my fingers maybe are a little dusty for this, but it'll be okay. We don't actually need these. I'm just going to be working in white. And then, like this one, I painted the... come on, you can focus. I know you can. Focus. Oh, there we go. You can see the eyes and the nose that are different colors. I just painted those. I made several rings this week. Lost one of your testers, though. What do you mean by testers? Like people to test them? Or was it a test ring that you made that you lost? Alright, so we're going to get kind of a main body shape. So the request was that it be a little bit smaller and a little bit smoother and have the ears up more. I'm trying to eat your weight in persimmons. I think I have half a persimmon in the fridge. Actually, my brother has half a persimmon in the fridge right now. You lost your brother and can't find him? Classes, stress doodling. Oh, yeah. Yeah, sheer insanity that is America in 2020. I was chatting with a friend earlier today about the stress that is 2020. New way to draw fire or wisps and fabric, though. Ooh, that sounds exciting. You did thread and wire to see if it would make this ring stronger or just better. Persimmons. Persimmons, they're kind of a more plant. They're sweet and they're kind of have, you know, it's hard to describe flavors. I feel like, you know how green tea tastes like plants? It's not earthy, but it tastes like plants. I feel like persimmons are a little bit more like that, but sweet, but they have a good crunch to them. I just really like the crunch. Yeah, they're not super sweet. They have kind of a planty taste to them, but they're sweet and they're crunchy. And I like crunchy things. Yeah, my brother, the crunch, exactly. You know what I'm talking about. I am all about that crunch. I like crunchy things. It's all about that mouthfeel. Alright. Yeah, they're not juicy, they're slightly syrupy. Yeah, yeah. I could see, that makes sense to me, yeah. I think we're gonna go a little bit more cartoony. Oh, see if they sell them there in the middle of nowhere. I mean, they sell them here, but we're not exactly tiny. We're not exactly a tiny city. We're not huge, but I guess we're a collection of cities. Oh yeah, texture's super important. Flavor has some things too. Like a lot of people say they don't like mushrooms because of the texture. I don't like mushrooms because of the flavor. Oh, I'm like, where are my tools? They're just right over here. You almost bought a house with persimmon trees. Ooh. Wait, where do persimmons grow? I haven't really thought about that. You get sick when you eat mushrooms? I get sick when I eat avocado, which makes me sad because it tastes good. I just left half of my tools over there. Because I never put them back in my thing. Are they on the other side of the state? Or, I'm just wondering, like, where do persimmons grow? Like, what kind of climate do they grow in? I guess my brain always thought that they were, like, tropical or something, but maybe not. Oh. Oh, so they grow here. That might explain why we have them. I don't know where all your family members live. I just remember going to Seattle with you at one point. Oh, yeah. That would make sense. Asian market, they might sell them. Okay. they grow pretty well all over the place then. I wonder if they're just pretty hardy. I don't know. I like plants. I don't know much about them. My brother's the one with the green thumb and the food knowledge. I let him do the taking care of the plants and cooking things. So do they grow in Asia? Well, Asia's a whole collection of places. The key is to get them when they feel slightly mushy with the peel on. That's good to know. My brother loves fruit trees. He has a whole selection of citrus trees that he really wants to get. He has an orange tree, a grapefruit tree. No, not an orange tree. He has a lemon, grapefruit, and a lime tree in the library. Don't tell him that. So I'm kind of thinking I might go a little bit more cartoony this time. China produces 2/3 of the world's persimmons, per Wikipedia. That would make sense why they'd be in the Asian market then. It looks like Baymax. Maybe I won't go that cartoony. Try to get everything smooth together so it stays together. So I'm going to try and get it so that the ears are up too. I had the ears kind of facing downwards last time. It's kind of hard to see in there. Let's see if I can get it to focus again. There you go. You can kind of see the ears in there, kind of facing downwards. This isn't sanded or polished, by the way. So, but yeah, you can see the ears there. But try and get them upright. This might still be a little bit big. We'll see. I can't go much taller, because I need it to fit into the die. And I want the ears, if the ears are going to be going up, I need them to fit as well. Where did I get a text from? Is it lagging a whole bunch? Let me see if I can... Is it just the chat that's lagging, or is it like buffering? Anyone in the chat can answer that. Like I said, I'm trying out a new streaming software. But which is it? Is it buffering, or is it the chat? Oh. You're not getting lag? I've definitely had it on Twitch before where it just lags for me, like it just keeps buffering. I don't know why. But that's good to know that you're not getting lag. Huh. The chat's going to lag, and I know that. Because I know that even when I don't have it on the screen, you guys are slightly behind me. You're having internet issues? Yeah, I've had it before where I've tried to watch a stream and it just buffers continually for me. In which case I just moved to my phone and it seemed to work fine on there. But yeah, well, if you guys gotta head off because it's not working for you, that's understandable. But it does make me feel better knowing that other people. Oh, okay. It does make me feel a little bit better knowing that other people's is working all right. Because I wouldn't put it, you know, like I said, I'm trying out something new, so I wasn't sure if it was on my end. I just gave it little tiny feet. Little tiny feet. Alright. It's freezing and the audio's fine. Let me close. Oops. Just I opened the wrong thing. Just a moment. I don't want that open. Let me see if I have some stuff open that I don't need to open. What's that? Go over to the stream manager, see how it looks over here. I'm gonna keep an eye on the actual stream instead of on the streaming software and see how it looks on that end. See if it's keeps freezing for me. I've noticed that it like will freeze up for me if I change what window I'm in. Sometimes I like on my end. As the person streaming, so I don't know if that affects you guys or not. I'm trying things out. And the audio's fine. I don't know, guys. Oops, that's still a little bit big. It's gonna have big monster arms. Oh yeah, it's doing that for me too. Maybe it's on my end. Yeah, I just had it like buffer on my end too. I wonder if it's my internet connection. That's quite possible as well. I've made it too complicated. I added one thing. Oh man, now I have to remember how to do a bunny rabbit. What do I have over here? Okay. Like, how do I have the arms? Video is still good for you? Alright, well that's good to know. I'll keep having an eye on it. Someone's sabotaging my stream. It's probably me if someone's sabotaging my stream. I feel like that's the most likely culprit. And if it's not me, it's you. So if it isn't either of us, I don't know who it might be. Okay, I just want to show you how ridiculous these arms look. They're just like sticking out. It's a bunny rabbit that wants a hug, I guess. It makes me feel better knowing that Teacup Beta is gonna fight them. if someone's sabotaging, I'll just send my whole chat after them. Sure you are, Nate. Sure you are. Seriously though, it could be on my... He's just a little fellow. Yeah, I'm trying to make him just a little bit smaller. He might still be a little bit... Here, let me see if I can show you how big he is compared to this one. See if I can... Make a little focus. Come on. Ah! Oh no! I'm dropped. He definitely looks all dusty and stuff, but I will paint him. Not quite that close. So he's just slightly smaller than this one. I might want to go a little bit smaller almost. Because the problem with this one is like his nose is right up against the top face. Like, it's really close there. I don't know if I can show you quite how close, but his face is all up in this dice's business. I mean, he's also in the dice, but like it's really close to the top. Yeah, my only concern here really is the ears, if they are a little too tall. He's gonna be too small. He's gonna be a little small boy. I think I might try and make a couple of little bunny rabbits, depending on how long this takes. He's just trying to sniff. He's trying to sniff the D20 face. Yeah. Let's see if we can get this to stand up all right. Oh no, which way do ears face? I might need to look up. No, look up a. Oh no, actually. So here I'm gonna look up a bunny rabbit. Bunny rabbit. I need photos. Bunny rabbit. Okay, they kind of go outwards. That's all I needed to know. Just kind of try to make that a little rounded. I'm going to try and go outwards a little bit. I'm just going to gently kind of push it together so it stays. And I'm definitely deforming it a little bit, but I'll go back and kind of form it into the right shape, hopefully after it's attached. Because the last thing I want is for it to fall off. I mean, to be fair, I did accidentally break one of the legs off of this guy, and he turned out all right. I glued it back on and painted over it. You can't really tell, but I'd rather not have the ears fall off. That would be unfortunate. There is like a cat hair or something right here. There we go, let's get that off. There's so much cat hair everywhere. He only has one ear so far, but he's got one little ear. Oh, I should make the other one kind of flop over. That'd be cute. Have one that's up and one that's kind of flopping over a little bit. I feel like that's kind of stereotypical bunny rabbit. And I'm gonna try and kind of put a divot here almost so that it's kind of folded. And this one's also gonna face kind of outwards. That is too big. Such a polite little bunny. Put a little blood on his lips. I did actually make a like little killer bunny rabbit for a friend at one point out of polymer clay. It was bigger than this, but I had fun with that. I wonder if I have photos of that. I'd have to look. Oh, I was thinking Monty Python, but come on, boy, you gotta have your ear on there. I like both of these ears. They don't match at all. Like I said, I'm just going to try and get these to stick together. Get everything kind of attached, and then I'll worry about cleaning up the shape. Yeah, because there we go. They look like they match a little bit more now. And now it has 2 ears. Should I make them a little bit longer? Let me see if I can get it to focus on the little bunny rabbit. Well, it's good to know that even with the changed software, it doesn't want to focus. With little ears. That's not attached very well. Smooth that a little bit. He's just a little thing. Just trying to get everything stuck down. His tail's a little bit too big. We're gonna make his tail a little bit smaller. And get whatever this is off of it. I think it's more cat hair. It's always more cat hair. Here's a question for you guys. If I don't drop everything. Like I said, I changed the software that I'm using so that I could do things like have the chat down here. There we go. And that sort of stuff. If I was going to add other things to the stream, like maybe like notifications for when there's a new follower or something like that, is there anything in particular that you guys would be interested in seeing? I feel like that's a very broad question, but I'm still figuring out all the streaming stuff. So I don't know if there's things that you guys have seen from other streamers, or if you guys stream and you have some ideas, or if you just have an idea for something you think would be cool. I'm always looking for ideas. There we go. That's a little bit better on the sides of the tail, I think. Just gonna try and shape paws here so that they just go down a little bit more. This guy looks a little bit more cartoony, I think, than the last one, which is okay. I think that's kind of maybe what we're going for. Doesn't look perfectly even though. Let's see if we can even him out a little bit. I'm just moving over to, ooh, let's not do that. There's still yellow on that. Let's get that off there. I'm just moving over to a slightly smaller, or not smaller, slightly larger tipped round sort of tool. That's fair, that's fair. I use Twitch sometimes. I mostly use it to watch Critical Role. I've started watching a few, like just hopping in on some video game streams or some other craft streams. I guess to be fair, I usually put videos on while I'm working on something else, and part of the reason that I like streaming is because I like being able to interact with people. So usually if I'm going to watch something or listen to something, it's going to be a YouTube video because I don't have to interact with it. Little bunny frou-frou hopping through the forest, picking up the field mice and bopping them on the head. I like yours better. That seems nicer. Is that the bunny rabbit's name in that rhyme? Little bunny foo-foo? Foo-foo? Hopping through the forest? I'm trying to remember. It's possible I'm just saying words and you guys have no idea what I'm talking about too. But I swear there was a nursery rhyme about a bunny rabbit that kept going through the forest and like just hitting other forest creatures, and then he got like in trouble with like a fairy, I think. I can't remember what happened to him. Foo-foo. Okay. Good, that makes me feel better knowing that someone else knows what I'm talking about. Little bunny foo-foo hopped through the forest, picking up the field mice and bopping them on the head. Along came the something, and she said, I don't remember what she said, but I remember that there's a nursery rhyme. Oh, I'm holding this in such a way that you guys can't see what I'm doing. That's not very useful. Just trying to kind of smooth things out, make sure everything's laying down all right. And then I'll get around to working on the face. Make sure everything's in the right spot. Everything's kind of even. Make sure these legs are the same sizes. That sort of thing. Make sure they're roundish. Don't have weird angles on them like they do at the moment. Oh gosh, what did I do? I'm very engrossed in making a tiny bunny rabbit now. Alright. Alright, I'm starting to like this. I'm starting to like it. It looks very much like a stuffed rabbit. He's hacking the planet. Alright. Let's see if I can get to focus on this. Oh, that's so cool. You had a little CD player of nursery rhymes. That's cute. That's really cute. Oh, there we go. Yeah, he looks very much like a stuffed rabbit at the moment. Oh, it was Good Witch. Alright. I can't remember. It's been so long since I've heard that nursery rhyme. Oh man. I'm old enough that I probably would have listened to it on cassette tape. I remember listening to things on cassette tape. Back in my day. He is shaped like a friend. I do kind of a similar nose to, I think, this one, where it's kind of a triangle nose on the end of the face and then kind of eyeballs on the sides. How did I do this one? I think this one. So I'm not pressing in the nose. I'm kind of trying to go around the nose and make it go out a little bit. And then I'm kind of putting an indentation below the nose for a mouth. Now let's make him smile. He's kind of frowning at the moment. That's not what I want. There we go. That's better. I don't know if I ever read the story of the Velveteen Rabbit. I know the story of the Velveteen Rabbit, and it's possible that's why I haven't read the story of the Velveteen Rabbit. Isn't it sad? Isn't it a sad one? I totally just realized that my favorite stuffed animal is a rabbit as well. Totally didn't think about that until just this second. He was the leader of my stuffed animals. I think he's still on my bed, actually. And his name is Grimble. He was named after a book character. A set of books that I loved as a kid. I don't remember if they were good. They probably weren't, but I loved them as a kid. So he got named after that. And I trimmed his fur with a pair of scissors when I was younger. He looks fine, to be fair. But I don't know why I did it, but I definitely took a pair of scissors to his fur. Let's see if I can show you what I've done so far on the nose and mouth. Still working on getting it even, but you can kind of see the nose and the mouth there. I need to make this side a little bit bigger to match that side. There we go. Actually, that's pretty even. There we go. There, now it looks more like he's smiling. Okay, just I'm going to go back to my reference photo of a rabbit. Okay, they have eyes kind of on the side of their head. So I think what I did last time is I kind of made little indentations where I was going to put the eyes so that I could make sure that they were even, and then I put little round pieces of clay into them. Or did I put clay? Did I put clay in them, or did I just paint them? I think I put clay in them because I think they stick out just a little bit. Yeah, they go outwards. All right. I need the tiniest bit. I don't know if you can even see that. A little bit more than that. See if I can show you how much. You see that speck of white on my finger? There's a speck of white on my finger. We're gonna try and make that into a little ball. And add it to the eye socket. Actually, that might be less. I might need more than that. Yeah, I could do a little bit more than that. Yeah, that's probably a better size. A little bit bigger. A little bit bigger. Okay, added. It doesn't want to focus. There's a little piece of white on the end of that. A little ball. That's too much. I'll take that back out. Get rid of part of that. Ah, where'd it go? Where did it go? I don't know where it went. Okay, we're gonna make a new little ball of clay. It's not quite as much clay. Ah, all right. So I don't think you've stopped by the stream before. Have you, particular bosun? Also, is your stream name about like boson particles? I don't remember what boson particles are. I just remember that they're a thing. I feel like Nate probably remembers if he's still here. If the internet didn't completely conk out on him. He works in like nuclear or something. Oh, or bosun like a person that works on a ship. Is that spelled the same way? I don't remember. That's also a thing. No, that's spelled like boatswain, I think. It's bosun, but I think it's spelled differently. Okay. Chopping some clay in half. There's such small pieces of clay that I am having trouble making them round because I've squish them at all, and they go flat. All right. Oh no, where did it go? Oh wait, I found it. Haha. This is the problem with working at this scale. It's so easy to like drop little things. Okay, let me. Okay. So I think as long as it doesn't mess up, you know, make it buffer and stuff, I think I'll probably stick with this new streaming software. It seems to have some more customization options. Oh, were you? Oh, okay. Sorry, I totally did not realize that. Probably, it was probably just mixed in with all of the other names in the chat. But, oh, Death Stranding. I'm trying to remember stuff about Death Stranding. I feel like I might have watched part of that when I was doing some homework about video games fairly recently. And that'd be cool. I'm trying to keep my commissions so that I have like 5 going at the same time. I'm still figuring out. It's such a weird game. What is Death Stranding about? I don't remember. I don't play a lot of video games. I like watching other people play video games, but I don't play a lot myself. Norman Reedus. Oh, yes, I did watch part of that. Because that was the... Yeah, that's one where there was like an invisible thing hunting him at the very beginning. And I don't know what it was because I didn't actually watch a ton of it. I was watching it for the examples of voiceover in video games. But I definitely saw like the beginning part of that. Lean forward a little bit so you can see where my hands are. But yes, I'm trying to have about 5 commissions going at a time. The mailman simulator. Oh, he's like delivering stuff. Like I said, I've only seen the very beginning of that game because I was watching it for examples of voiceover. Oh, but yeah, I'm trying to keep about 5 commissions going at a time. That's kind of my plan. This was my first set of commissions that I ever opened for dice. So I didn't have a good estimate of how long it would take me to make things. Like I know how long it takes me to make a set of dice, but with like remaking things and getting input and that sort of stuff, they've definitely taken me longer than I expected, which I feel kind of bad about that because I feel like it's been a little bit longer than people works. You know, I had a time frame marked and I'm a little bit behind, but yeah, once I have this set, this one with the bunny rabbit, I have the main set of dice done for this. This is just going to be the D20. So I have the main set of dice done that go with this guy. I just need to do the D20 on this one. Here's some eyeballs, by the way. These little eyeballs. And they look kind of funky now, but they'll get painted. Are they a little funky? They might be a little wonky. I think his head's a little misshapen. Let me see if I can fix that. But if you want to, there's a link to my Etsy on my Twitch page. If you want to message me on Etsy, Bosun, next time I have commissions available, I can let you know before I post them. I'm always happy to do that. Yeah, I have this set. I have two other sets that I've worked on a couple of times on stream, and they've turned out pretty, but not exactly what we were going for. And then I have one that I got in fairly recently that's just going to be a 4-screen with gold in it, which should be fairly simple to do. I don't imagine there'll be too much redoing on that one. So I should hopefully have some more open up soon. Do you have a particular idea for a set of dice? Are you looking for like a set of dice with like weird babies in them, or? I just realized that I have weird little ceramic babies upstairs in my office. They're like this big, and they have like the arms and the legs are separate. I got them at like a weird antique craft sale, and I was like, these could make something weird. But then I feel kind of weird making like necklaces out of little ceramic babies. I just thought they were weird and interesting. They'd be too big for dice, but I was just reminded of that. Okay, let me smooth out this ear. And then we can call that good, probably. Oops. I totally just shoved my fingernail into the other ear while I was trying to smooth this one out. Move it down a little bit. That one up, this one folding over a little bit. Oh, right, the face. That's what I was going to do. I was going to try and even out the face. This is the one I want. Just a second. I think that ear's not attached very well there. Clear black and gold foil. That would be doable. Alright, so there's the little bunny rabbit. Has a little tail. So I think I'm gonna do one more bunny rabbit just to be safe, so I have spares. And we can do some resin experiments. It's probably not gonna be a super long stream tonight. It was fairly long last time. I've never streamed 5 hours before, but it does make me feel better. Doesn't make me feel better, but it is fun to know that I can talk nonstop for 5 hours straight. Okay, so clear black and gold foil. That'd be, clear black and gold foil. That's definitely doable. Do something funky with the D20, red, black, and gold foil with a baby in it. That'd probably be doable too. We'd have to discuss probably price point on that. I'd either have to go find something online for that, or make a little baby out of polymer clay to put in. But I've been enjoying all of the commission stuff. I'm getting this white is so dirty now. Like I said though, I'm gonna paint it, so it should be okay. As long as I don't have too much cat hair sticking out of it. There's no escaping the cat hair in my house. I'm not even wearing my super fluffy sweater that I'm normally wearing. Oh yeah, that's the fun of it. That's the fun of commissions is well, at least for me, I like the sort of collaborative process of it. I like working on projects where I get feedback from other people, and, bounce ideas. That's the kind of way I like to work, so it works out well. But yeah, message me on Etsy, and that way next time I have commissions available, I'll let you know. that was what made me decide to open up commissions in the first place, is that I started a sort of business account, not a business account, but I made a Tumblr for my dice, and had someone message me and say, hey, are your commissions open? I'm like, oh, is that a thing I should be doing? So it always makes me happy when people are like, hey, I like the things you're making. I want things. Alright, let's try to make another bunny rabbit. Let's see if we can go even smaller, maybe? Let's see if we can go even smaller. It's probably going to lose a little bit of definition. I'll try not to put too many thumbprints in it, but let's see if we can go smaller. I'm just trying to get all of the kind of lines out of this, because when I squished it together, it had lines where it had been squished. So I'm just trying to work all of those out by rolling this into a ball. Please do let me know if it has buffering issues or anything, guys, because if it is on my end, I do want to know. Oh, tea break. I'm enjoying streaming though. I like talking. I can talk for long periods of time about absolutely nothing. I'm good at that. I feel like it's my calling in life. Streaming is perfect. I don't have to edit. I just talk for long periods of time about whatever I want to talk about. Alright, let's see how this is in comparison with size. Is this any smaller? Am I making this any smaller? I'm looking at my other bunny rabbit. It's a little bit smaller. Yeah, it's a little bit smaller. Oh, that tail, I did not attach that tail at all. It's just a little circle that's sitting there. No, come back. Baby, come back. Ugh. But yeah, I'm trying to work on getting my Twitch channel being not necessarily more user-friendly, well, kind of user-friendly. I want to get some more stuff on like my about page and get some things so there's more audience participation almost. Maybe set it up so like, so Saturdays are usually, not usually, but my kind of plan is to try and have Saturdays be like experiment days, take audience suggestions for what should I try. Usually with resin and stuff. I have these that I need to get done, so they take precedence. But you know, maybe set it up so there's like a poll or something for what people want to see. That might be kind of cool. Still trying to figure out Twitter. That sounds unrelated, but someone told me that Twitter's good for getting like feedback. So like that's where you get responses from people and stuff. And I was thinking of trying to get some suggestions from there, but I don't know. It might be nice to just have it in the stream itself. Oh no, they're dropping like flies. Alright. That is a weird looking tail that I just made. I don't know how I feel about this. It's just... Here, I'll show you. It's just kind of switch over so I can actually see what I'm doing. It's just kind of sticking out. Just kind of sticking out. Ah! Well, maybe that'll fix it. I just dropped it. Okay, I think I just need to make it a little bit more distinct from the body. So I'm just gonna kind of cut in between it and the body at the top and try and almost shape it or move it downwards so that it's more against the floor. I think that'll help distinguish it. Yeah, I think that's a little bit better. It looks more like a stereotypical bunny rabbit tail now. It's not quite round. Try to make that more round. Oh, I was trying to figure out what the thumping noise was that I just heard. I think it's probably my neighbor. He also does some sort of crafting, I think is his job. And he has kind of like a little workspace set up kind of in between our two houses. So I hear him out there hammering away at stuff. He works on larger scale things, so I think he does like large metal sculptures or something like that. I'm not sure exactly. I feel like we chatted once about it, but I don't remember exactly what it is that he makes. Okay. Put a little head on there. It really is such basic shapes that I'm putting together. I have kind of like a cylinder that's, oh, come on, a cylinder-ish with a circle on top and a circle at the back. I'm just kind of smoothing them together so they stay together. So do you guys usually listen to stuff like this while working on other projects? Is that sort of, I mean, that's what I do, so I'm just kind of curious. Like, scroll through on your phone or work on arts and crafts projects. I put on a lot of things while I'm sanding dice. Although I have hopes for trying out something that'll hopefully work to make that a little bit quicker. Alright. It's just so round, it looks fluffy. Yeah, exactly. Have stuff on in the background. I cannot, like, I have such trouble listening to something while I'm trying to read. But I like working on arts and crafts while I'm listening to people stream or YouTube videos. I like having something to do with my hands. Do a puzzle maybe. I should do a puzzle. It's been a while since I've done a puzzle. Okay, I'm not gonna do this, but I just want to show you guys. I just added. Let me just show you the legs that I. Look how I was gonna go add legs, and this just does not work. Oh, come on. Is it gonna focus? I don't think those are quite bunny rabbit legs. Alright, let's try this how I did it last time. Because I kind of cut down the middle a little bit, and then kind of extended that out. My first thought was like that meme where there's just like a leg. I should really look up the Twitch terms of service. I feel like there's stuff in there that I should probably know more about. Because I feel like I heard somewhere that you can't show feet on Twitch, which is fine. I was wearing slippers. But I feel like that's a thing I heard. I don't know all of the things that I can and cannot do on Twitch. Which is probably not a great practice on my part. But who reads all of the agreement stuff? I should, since I'm using it, but oops. Wait. Oh no. Haha. Just holding on. Part of it. I was just thinking about this in the fraction of a second that I stopped talking. Do you ever have like people come? Well, at the moment, hopefully you don't. Do you ever have people like come over to your house, and then you're in like host mode? You're like, crap. Now I'm in charge of making sure conversations happen and things run smoothly. I feel like that's kind of it on my Twitch stream to a certain extent. It's like, y'all are my guests here, so I gotta make sure the conversation keeps going, everyone's having a good time, make sure everything's going on all right. Maybe that's just me. I mean, in the having people over and feeling like you gotta make sure conversations happening and stuff. But it's like the constant need to like entertain. I guess I do that when I'm just hanging out with people too. Maybe that's not the healthiest. Not sure there. It's hard for me to unwind around people, I guess. Depending on who it is, but it's just like I'm constantly in entertaining mode when I'm around folks. Makes it difficult to relax. Okay, he has little feeties now that don't look as funky. At least to me. He's got little feeties now. Alright, I'm gonna line arms. Oh, I already have some over here. I do like entertaining though. I like having people over. Or I did. Used to have fairly frequent game nights at my house. Did D&D for a while. With certain one group of friends, and then a little bit of overlap. A different group of friends would have over for like dinner and board games, which it's fun. I'm a social person. If you couldn't pick up on that, I find it, somewhat exhausting to be around people to a certain extent, because, like I said, I'm always in entertainment mode, or entertainer mode, I suppose. But social interaction is an important part of human existence. We are social animals. I feel like that's part of the importance of arts. Depending on the arts, not necessarily all of them, but some of them are It's about trying to express things from one human being to another. There's no point to art if there's no one there to consume the art. I mean, maybe there is, but making art for the sake of art as opposed to making art for an audience, I suppose I feel like that could be debated. We could have all sorts of debates about the purposes of art. What's the meaning of art? What makes something art? I had a sudden idea for a photo, this is a while ago, of just taking some fake flowers and putting them in my dryer, spilling out of my dryer. I took a photo of it. It took me like, I don't know, 15 minutes to set up. Took some photos, and then posted one to Instagram. Something along the lines of what was it? Fake art or something like that. And I had a friend comment on it with what's fake about it. And it really did make me think about what do I define as art. I guess a lot of it came down to I didn't have any, there was no, wasn't trying to convey any sort of meaning with it, and it didn't take me a lot of effort to execute it. But it really did make me stop and think about, is that what art is? I mean, maybe that's how I think of art, but I don't know if that's necessarily what makes something art. Is there things that people make that aren't meant to are there things that people call art that don't take much effort or don't have any meaning beyond just existing? I mean, probably. I would assume so. I feel like, but again, I feel like art's subjective to a certain extent, so. I'm sure people who've created things that fall into those categories. I consider it art. And it ultimately doesn't matter whether I consider it art or not, because it's so subjective. Sorry, I have that down here. I'm just adding ears now. Adding another set of ears. Trying to get them. Ooh, they look more like bat ears almost. I need to angle them so that they're facing forward a little bit more. They're kind of facing sideways and to the back at the moment, which is not the direction they need to be facing. There, that one's looking a little bit better. Let's get this one going. And again, I'm just kind of attaching this to the head, and I will smooth it out in a moment. I want to make sure it's attachable first before I worry about making it look good. It's got to stay together before it. That's more important than how it looks. Alright, oh, I can hear a cat toy out in the hallway. Right outside the door. Alright, I just want to make sure things are even. Kind of smooth them out a little bit. Make sure things are facing the right direction. Oh, there we go. That's kind of stereotypical bunny rabbit. There we go. What do we think of having ears like that? Have one kind of folded over, and one sticking up. Have them both sticking up. I'll put it back so you guys can see again. I might have it not folded over quite that much. Bit rate's not good. Yeah, have it with a little fold over. Alright. Alright, let's get the arms and the face and everything. Get the arms evened out. No mismatched ears, exactly. You get these arms evened out and get a little face on them. I think I should probably check and make sure that he's... Well, he might be too tall. No, I think he's okay. He's okay. He's gonna be just barely... Oh no, I dropped him. Okay, he's good. Because this is about as tall as I can go, the one that I already had in here, because his nose is touching. And I think he's, with his ears, gonna be just slightly shorter. So I think we're good to go. There it is. That's kind of what I was looking for. Uh-oh. Seems I have smooshed his hands into his body. Well, let's see if we can get that fixed. Your hands are supposed to be separate from your body. Alright. Do you do any arts and crafts, Bosun? I know that Teacup Beta does some really cool character art. Not liking that. That just looks like the rabbit has tits. Let's not do that. That's just kind of disturbing. I'll move those out a little bit. Okay, there we go. That's a little bit better. Now it looks like more like arms. So I'm gonna... Okay. Keep messing with things so I can see all of the little pieces that I want to see. Draw, knit. Considering dipping into dice making. It's fun. If you do decide to do it, if you have a Facebook, I would suggest joining the Dice Making Discoveries group on Facebook. Great group of people from of all skill levels who make dice. Just people, answering questions that anybody has, posts to the group, or showing off things they've made, asking about different techniques. But yeah, all different skill levels. Really helpful group of people. So if you do start doing dice, I would suggest that. Or look up Ribinator on YouTube. Has a lot of really good tutorial videos on how to make molds and stuff if you end up going that route. But it's fun. It's fun. I've done resin for a while, so I mean I feel like this is outing myself a little bit. I have not been making dice very long. I realized the other day that, because I was looking through receipts so I could kind of keep track of of business expenses. I was trying to figure out when I had gotten all this stuff for like a pressure pot and stuff so that I could make bubble-free castings. Not necessarily for dice, but if you want to make resin things that don't have any bubbles in them at all, any like micro bubbles or anything, pressure pot's nice. And I realized that I got it in like June, July, August, September, October. So I've only been doing this for like 4 months, which is not really a long time, but I did also take a picture recently of all the dice I've made, and I've made quite a few. And I've done resin for like a couple years. So I had that down, but it was a bit of a realization like, oh man, oh man, I really haven't been making these all that long, have I? That feels scary. I enjoy it though. It's fun. I like doing arts and crafts, guys. And resin is fun. I've done soap before. I'm pointing behind me because that's like all soap stuff back there. And soap is really fun to make, but the smallest amount of soap that I can make is 10 bars at a time, and it has a shelf life. So it's one of those things where it's like, what am I gonna do with all of this soap? If you look at my Etsy shop, I have a couple of different bars of soap that are available there just because it's fun to make. But just the fact that it has a shelf life is kind of an issue. At least with the like dice, I can make a stock without feeling like I'm going to end up wasting things. But also, I just like arts and crafts. I was thinking, because I think someone suggested it, was it on Wednesday? Last Saturday? At some point, I think someone suggested that I do a stream of painting, which I love painting. I wonder if I have, let me see if I can find a picture of some of the most recent paintings I've done. Yeah, here we go. Let me add this still life to the stream so you guys can see. Let me see if I can I do that? No, I can't. Okay, I have to download this. Let me see if I can add this image. Okay. Oh, that's nice. It add new source. I always have to show off my artwork, of course. There we go. So here's a still life that was for a painting class that I took. Let's try to make that a little bit bigger so it hopefully looks a little bit. Ugh, it keeps sticking. Okay. So there's a still life that I did for a painting class. Let me grab a different still life that I did. Ah, that's not what I want. That's an abstract piece that I did. Oops. Advanced menu. Let's see if that helps with the buffering. I just changed something. But anyways, that's a still life that I did for a Disable, okay. Yeah, that was let's see, that was acrylics, and then let me show you the one. Oh, thank you. Yeah, I'm pretty happy with the lighting on that one. This was we were using, oh man, I just blanked on the, oh, what is the word I'm looking for? There's a couple spots that I'd probably fix on this, but where they're a little bit flat, kind of on the skull and on one of the books down the right. Glazing, that's the one I'm looking for. And let me find, I'll show you the other one that I did. Let me go find this. Oh, and here's the one in oil. Not nearly as exciting, but I feel like the best compliment I received on this one was from my grandma, who said, "You know, those look like those like fake wooden apples that they use for props." I'm like, "It is a fake wooden apple that they use for props. Yay!" But these were those were both for a painting class I took fairly recently. But I love painting. I've loved painting for a long time. But I was thinking of doing a stream in which I maybe paint some sort of still life. But I was hoping I could get requests for things I should put in the still life. So if people have ideas for objects that I should put in a still life to paint, and I'm okay with the still life ending up with all sorts of random things in it. Oh, paint's hard. See, here's the strange thing. I can't draw worth a damn or worth a darn. I can't really draw that well, but I can paint. I can paint okay. I feel like painting and singing, I say, are the two things I feel like I'm actually pretty good at. But yeah, I was like, because it was suggested to me that I do like a painting stream, but I feel like it'd be fun to do a still life where people can give suggestions for what I should put in a still life. So if you guys have any ideas, I have all sorts of like the skull let's see, the skull, the flower, the books in that still life are all mine. We brought things into the class for that one. And I have all sorts of interesting things like that. So yeah, if you guys have ideas for things I should add to some sort of composition, I feel like that would be fun. I was mentioning it on, I think, Wednesday. I'm pretty sure you were, well, I think you were both here, but well, let's see, this one is an example of what I was saying on Wednesday about how it's useful to learn how to look at the shapes and the colors of an object instead of looking at the object. Because that glass, for example, with me just looking at, okay, where are the lights and the darks and where are the differences in color, instead of saying, oh, okay, I need to paint a glass vase, it makes it so much easier to paint glass, if that makes sense. Just saying, okay, I know, I'm looking at the thing and I can see that there's kind of like a triangle of like a lighter red, and then it kind of fades into like even lighter red, instead of trying to go, how do I paint a vase? It makes it so much easier to think of it that way. That is also how, I mean, it ended up a little wonky if you look at it at the top, but because I'm trying to get the angles right and I'm not paying attention to keeping them even necessarily. But I'm gonna hide that again. But I like painting. One of the other kinds of painting we did in that class was en plein air painting, which was really fun. Sort of. It was landscapes, and it's kind of a quick and dirty sort of way to paint landscapes. I say that, but it still took me however many hours to do them, because painting just takes a long time. But, well, those are the ones that I was saying on Wednesday that I absolutely hated how they looked until I got the last layer of paint on them. But, what am I doing to this poor bunny's nose? I was like, that would be fun to try and stream. However, that would probably require me to be outside, which, one, it's cold out there. I don't want to be out in the cold. And two, I'd have to figure out, like, how I would set up a stream from that. I mean, I could probably set it up and paint from, like, my office window, something like that. But yeah, I feel like that would make things a little bit difficult if I was going to try and stream from outside. Not necessarily, I mean, I feel like streaming from my phone would be fine. However, I would probably want multiple cameras, or so that you could see the canvas and then also maybe like what it is that I'm working on painting, or me, or something like that. I mean, I suppose I could just show the canvas, but I feel like it might be nice to have a picture of the, like an image of, I guess I could take a picture of the view, but that's not nearly as exciting. This guy's nose is a little funky. I made his nose kind of funky. Here, I'll show you guys his funky nose and weird flat forehead. Let's see if I can. You can see his weird flat forehead that I kind of made on accident. Oh wow, he's really washed out. Yeah, there we go. See his weird flat forehead? Not quite sure what I'm doing there. Let's see if I can give it a little bit more shape without messing it up too much. Okay, so I'm gonna look at this. Ah, no, don't mess up the ears. Kind of straight on so I can look at that. Yes, he's a unique bunny. There we go. Just a second here. We're gonna blend those ears in a little bit more so that I don't have his eye inside his ear. He's a very unique bunny. His eye is inside of his ear. Okay, that's a little bit better. So I haven't added the kind of the little circles for his eyes yet, but I have put kind of a marker for where I want his eyes to be. Oops. Come on. Put little markers for where I want his eyes to be. Hello and welcome from work. I'm making little tiny bunny rabbits, Jen. Also, I'm trying out different streaming software in which I have the chat now, so that can get saved too when I save the videos. Here, let me show you the other bunny rabbit we made. So we made one other one that kind of looks like a little fat stuffed rabbit. Oh. Oops. A little fat stuffed rabbit. Exactly. Now your gratuitous lore can be immortalized. So I'm working on a set of dice. The full set is done, but the D20 is going to include a bunny rabbit in it. And I made this one. If it'll come on. There we go. There's a bunny rabbit in there. But it's a little bit big. Like his face kind of ended up smushed against the 20 side. And so I'm making some new ones. I got some input from the person that they're for, and they requested something like a little smoother and a little bit smaller, and with the ears up. So that's what I'm working on. And so I'm making a couple little small ones. So I have a couple of options. Trying to make them a little smoother. And they're a little bit kind of dirty at the moment, and that's okay because I'm going to paint them. He's chubby. This one's not as chubby, but the other one's kind of chubby. In prison for sniffing crimes. Isn't that like the opposite of what he should be in prison for? He should be in prison for doing crimes. Crimes of cuteness. But yeah, they'll be. I'll paint them a little bit with like white paint. Smooth it out a little bit. Last little bit on here is probably I'm gonna add some eyes to him. I made little tiny kind of divots where his eyes are gonna be, just so I have an idea of where they're gonna go. And I'm gonna make some little tiny circles or spheres of clay. See if I can pick it up. There we go. And put it in that socket. This is what I did for this Grandma Bunny. Grandma Banal. There we go. Yeah, this one was all white as well, and then I painted it. I kind of did kind of a brown wash on the fur, and then kind of dry brushed it white again, and then I painted the eyes black and the nose pink. Finds it. You can kind of see the colors, even though you can't see the. Come on. There we go. You can see I painted the eyes black and the nose pink. And just kind of a wash on the bunny to give him a little bit more depth. Oh, and there's also pink inside the ears. But yeah, I'm going to do the same sort of thing here. Where I... the one I want. This is the one I want. I'll paint the eyes and the nose and probably the white as well to try and make everything the same color and even it out. So I'll probably stick at just 2 of these for now, 2 of these bunnies. I need to do one more eye. And then the other thing I wanted to do tonight, the other folks here have heard this, but I don't think you just got here, Jen. Have a set, oops, that someone commissioned it's just going to be like a forest green and gold leaf flakes in it, but it should be easy enough to do, except that for some reason it's really hard to make translucent green resin. I don't know why. Let's just make sure everything's even here. Let me get these legs kind of, they're like all stuck together now. Why did that happen? I have like some pigment powders that will make green resin, but it'll make it opaque and not translucent. Greens, yeah. Green's just a powerful color. Is that what your username is based off is the color green, like verdant. Oops. For a second, I'm accidentally shoving my fingernail into the bunny rabbits here, which is the opposite of what I want. Okay, got bunny rabbits now. Oh, hey, wait, I didn't show you guys that, the finished bunny rabbit. I gotta show you guys this one, with the little ear folded over. Little bunny rabbit. Maybe not as good as the first one, but he's smaller, so it was harder to do. It's based off of blue, the most powerful color. Okay, got bunny rabbits. So let me put these away and I'll show you what's going on with the resin. Oh, verdant is a bluish green pigment. Ah, okay. That makes sense. Floppy bunny. Because I think the word verdant is often used for like plants and stuff, which I think is green. Oh, well, vert. Like in romantic languages, like vert, I'm pretty sure is green in French. Bleu, vert. Yeah. So I think that's where I'm thinking of it is like vert. Okay, so resin colors. I pulled this out before. This is all of the different things that I've used to color resin, including such things as cumin, coffee grounds. That coffee grounds is very chunky, but there's all sorts of here's that was fun. So all sorts of different pigments, alcohol inks. I had a whole bunch of mica powders because from soap, a lot of my soap colorants, I use a lot of mica powders for that, and so they've kind of worked their way over to here. All right, so greens. So yeah, the problem is that they don't like to move on this cord. All right, so like I said, I'm trying to do like a forest green, so like a dark green. So I have like a dark green here. I can move that so you guys can see the colors better. Is that gonna stay on there? Yeah. All right. So, I have a couple of kind of darkish greens, but they are both transparent because this is a soap pigment. These are both, yeah, green chrome oxide pigment, hydrated chrome green pigment. Pretty colors, Kelly green mica, Kermit green mica. I have some nice greens, but they are opaque. The green, quote unquote, alcohol ink that I have, rainforest green, is blue. Getting lag. Maybe it is on my end. I did change something. Let me see if that helps. There was a setting that it said I should change. Yeah, there was a setting it said I should change because of buffering and stuff, and so I did. But if it's making things worse, then let's not do that. Yeah, it's just teal. It's blue. It's kind of a tealy blue, but it's blue. I have like and so I did get some other pigments. At one point I was trying to get a dark green. Yeah, this is supposedly dark green. Does that look dark green to you? Doesn't look dark green to me. And then I got some other things. This is wasabi powder. That's wasabi powder. This one's not bad. The resin pigment that I got, still pretty blue. Yeah, so I don't have fluorescent green's actually pretty green, but I just don't have, that's lemon yellow. I don't have a good green. But I was saying this at the beginning of the stream. I did have some leftover resin at one point, and I was just mixing things together, and I got a good green. It looks so dark. I'm gonna hold it up here, so there's a little bit of light behind it. If you look where I am, there you go. You can kind of see the green. It looks pretty opaque, but it actually has, it's just dark. Now there you go. You can see the light coming through it if you look down at where you can see me usually. And I did that by mixing the rainforest green, that's not green, and the where's the one I did? It was I'm pretty sure it was the yellow from the same alcohol ink set. I'm grabbing. And it makes me sad because it looks green in the bottle. Okay, mixing those together. I don't remember how much green versus how much yellow I did though. So I'm gonna do a couple tests. I'm gonna make, what should I make? Should I just make some like, what should I make, guys? I just need to make some test pieces. So maybe I'll just, should I do some rings maybe? Should I pull out a couple of ring molds and we can try different greens? I think that sounds fun. Alright. I found some ring molds. That one has black in it at the moment. Make some various rings. That one has purple. That's fine. Okay. There, I have forbidden ring pops. Wait, if we're gonna do a forbidden ring pop, pull out that mold. Oh, hey, did the lag issue fix itself, Teacup Beta? I don't know if you were refreshing at the time, but I was saying that Twitch had given me a suggestion for trying fixing the buffering issue, and I took it, and it seems to have made things worse, so I changed it back. Sour apple, watermelon, and resin. The three decidedly green flavors. Okay, so here's the plan. I'm going to do, let's say, three different experiments. I'm going to do like one drop of the green, 2 drops of the yellow, 1 drop of the green, 3 drops of the yellow, and 1 drop of green, maybe 5 drops of yellow. Because the thing is, even when I mix the yellow with the green, it always still looks blue until it cures. So I just don't have a good way to guess what the right color is going to be until I actually let it cure. Still hiccuping. Well, except that my other friends were having issues as well with the latency issue, and I did. Oh no, Oh, you haven't heard anyone else mention it? No, I had a couple of folks that Nate and Amber, who usually hang out, they hopped off because it was buffering so much for them. But I did just switch the software that I'm using to stream today, so I wasn't sure if it was related to that. I moved over from OBS to Streamlabs OBS because there was some more options for me, like I could add the chat and stuff. And it could be internet on my connection too. I am quite honestly in the room that's like the furthest from the router, which is my problem. I wish I could see him a little bit better. Not blocked by the chat. So I wasn't sure. It very well could be on my end too. I think I got this computer that I'm using for this from Nate, the one that's in the chat sometimes, because he wasn't using it. And he said that it can have some internet connection issues sometimes too, so I might need to restart at some point. Could be on my end. Alright. Oh, the audio's fine and the video just freezes. No buffering. Okay. Oh yeah, that is weird. Yeah, I've had buffering issues before on like watching streams, I was saying before. So yeah, I don't know, that's weird. Okay, let me get all the things we need. Oops. I'm knocking over. Oh, hey, Jen, I should probably run this by you. I was thinking about it earlier, and since I'm going to be remaking that set of dice, I was thinking it could be fun to have the two different colors glow two different the two different regular colors glow two different colors. Like have the purple and the blue be glow different colors. I do still like the aqua, but it might be fun to like mix it with like a blue or a white or something, so that there's two different glow in the dark colors too. Are you cool with that? So I do still more glow colors. So I do still like that blue green aqua color, but we could do like a blue, a pink, the white, like I was saying. Do you have a preference on second color? Sorry, there's a whole bunch of resin in here that I'm pulling out. I'm planning pink. All right, aqua and pink. I'll find a good pink. Yeah, I'm planning on doing the final pour for that set and Teacup Beta set tomorrow. I think that's what's on my. No, not tomorrow. Day after tomorrow, Monday. And I'm pretty sure that just waiting for the resin to cure up on both of those a little bit before I pour should fix the issues that we were having with both of them. Yeah! I don't have those down here, or I would show them off so that the other people in the chat can see too. But they're coming together. Alright, we got that. We've got our colors. Sleeves a little bit so I don't get resin on them. Got those. Let's get ready to go. I do appreciate you guys being patient as I get your dice finished up. I feel like this has been a little bit of a learning process to a certain extent, figuring out how long it actually takes to do commissions. So I really didn't have a good estimate how long it would take me to get those done. Blurful. Yeah. I do wish that the blue-purple glow powder that I had glowed better, because it's such a pretty color, but it just does not glow well. Blue, pink, blue. Yes. And I think that this kind of tealy. Ooh. I wonder how. I'm gonna do one more experiment too. Here, just a second before I'm gonna do one more little experiment too. Just a second here. Let me figure out which color we want to use. Because I feel like it could be fun to do the kind of blue-green and then like the kind of orangish pink, but I don't want them to like mix and make brown because of the differences in warm versus cool, that sort of thing. Let's throw these in here as well. So just a second, I'm gonna. Of course, I can't use a ton of that because I don't have a ton of that left, but that's okay. Right, I'll throw this under this here as well. Oh, indecisive. Like I said, what I like about doing commissions is that I like the back and forth of figuring out like exactly what we want to do. Dirty pour? No, I'm not doing a dirty pour. That's if it was a dirty pour, it would be great. Those are fun and somewhat easy to do. No, for Jen's dice, we're trying to get kind of wave levels. Okay, so here's the teal. It looks more blue on camera, but here's the teal. And then I'm thinking this one right here. Let me. Oh, just a second here. I've shaken them too much. All right. Oh, just a second. I did not. Let me charge those a little bit more. Those did not charge well, and I just did that for half a second. Okay, so we've got our green. Yeah, this is going to be the final set for both of these, whether it turns out or not, because that's as much glow powder as I have for those. Yeah, here's the blue for teacup betas, which theirs are. I like how theirs have turned out so far, but there's been just like a few little things that's like, not quite what we were going for. Which one was I looking at before? That's magenta. This is the one I was looking at, I think. Wait, which one was I looking at? Is there not like an orange pink? I think it might have been this one. Anyways, kind of an. It's a little bit orangish. I feel like these two would look good together. Yeah. Oh, you know, there is also a darker teal. That would be an option too. Could do like a darker teal, but I think the pink and the teal will stand out better. Oh, just a second, let me turn on the lights. Ah! Oh no! Forgot I had that there. Okay, let's see. Yeah, I actually took another look at the second attempt, by the way, Jen, and I was looking at it last night. I was like, you know, actually most of these have a pretty good layer to them. I was looking at like the D10. Did I take a picture? Let me see if I took a picture. Yeah, I think the pink teal. I think that'll be pretty. I think I took a picture. So I was like, you know, actually these these aren't bad waves wise. Let me see if I can. Let's see if I can. Yeah, see they actually stuck to the bottom fairly well. I think it was mostly the I was trying to figure out color balance, but it was mostly the D20 I think that kind of spread out a whole bunch. But let's try it again. Let's see if we can get them better. Yeah, see, I was looking at them last night. I was like, oh, actually, these aren't bad. I think I was just looking at like the D20, which did kind of swirl up a little bit more. But okay, let's see. The animal's goat yogurt. That's what those two colors are. All right. But I understand wanting all of the butterflies to be the same color though. Oh, and yeah, and that was the thing here. I didn't wait as long as I was planning to for this test. Oh well, we could do another test of that too. Let's do another test of that. I'm gonna do another test with butterflies. Okay, another test with butterflies. Use a tiny amount of those. Make sure that they don't become brown. All right, just a second. We're gonna do a little setup. I'm not putting that on until I need to. So we've got these. We're gonna do a test with more butterflies. Let me grab those. I feel like that's a fairly common instinct among a lot of people that have dice. Everyone wants to eat the dice. They just look like hard candies. My brother was talking about making candy dice at one point, which I think would be fun. Where did that? Oh, here's the They just look so appetizing. Look at all the crunchy snacks. All the crunchy snacks. Big crunchy snacks. This is all my failed or made with cheap molds that I can't sell box. Yeah, some of them turned out pretty, but like this one, you can see if you look up here, the lid was so far off that it had a lot of resin, so the numbers would disappear if I sanded that. Anyway, there's a lot of things here. There's some pretty things in here. This was one of the first sets of ocean dice I did, but one of the pigments that I used in the first test set did not cure. So if you look at like the D20, oops, where's the D20 face? It's completely missing that corner there. It got all gunky, of course. And then this one? No. There's a D20 in here somewhere. Yeah, here it is. So it didn't cure, and then I poured a space dice in there, and it attached itself to the face of this one instead. So there's teal on that. I can't really see it all that well. Oh, there you go. You can see the teal spots on there. Okay, I got sidetracked. This one has a wasp in it. Look, it's a wasp. Okay, yeah. So, we've got our green experiments. I'm going to try the barest amount of... Oh, here they are. I'm looking for my smaller mixing cups. Oh wait, I don't need my smaller mixing cups. I can just use these mixing cups. The ones that I've been using for those dice. Alright, and I'm just going to add the smallest amount. I have a whole bunch of mixing stir sticks over here. Let's see. Math candy do click clack in the mouth. Ah, yes. Oops. I think I probably would glow in the dark now. I really am going to add just the barest amount because I want to have enough to make the actual dice. And I'm just doing a test. So there's the aqua. This one says magenta, but it's kind of a pinkish orange to me. Ooh, bright pink. And this one will probably get added to the purple so it doesn't discolor it too much. Alright. Alright, so we're going to try those. Let's see here. What do I want to do with the butterflies? What color should I do? I'm using the circle for this so I can see how much they sink. Because this is, you know, roughly the same size as a die. So I want to see if they end up suspending at different levels and that sort of stuff. Let's see, what color do I want to do? I did this test before, but I didn't actually let it sit as long as I was planning to. Because I was running late I was meeting up with my grandma. And I did still end up with some suspended. Yeah, let me see if I can show you. I did end up with like some suspended in there, but most of them went to the bottom. It never likes to... There we go. Most of them ended up at the bottom, but I did end up with like some suspended in there. Okay, so what color do we want? What colors do we want to do in there? Oh, hey, you know what? I'm gonna mix these two. These two are gonna be the same project now. I'm gonna pour this in the bottom, and then I'll add clear, and then we will see if these stay up. So what color? So it's a teal and like a orange pink. Well, let's add some kind of orange pinkish butterflies. I'm just gonna sit a few of those off to the side here, so I don't leave that open and knock them all over the place. Cool. Let me think here about how much resin am I going to need? I don't think I'll need a lot. Yeah, exactly. I feel like the colored palettes will match together, and this is just a test anyway, so I can mix all the pieces. Oh, how much? These probably take a milliliter of resin each or something. It probably takes about 5, maybe. So that's probably about 10. This one will take more, I'm sure. Oh, well, I can do 3 of each of these and that big one. This one will probably take, let's say, another 5. So let's just do, 15 is probably going to be way too much. What's on these? Oh, I could do 15. Let's do 15. Because I can do 7.5 and 7.5. It is actually marked there. I wasn't sure that it was. I look forward to the day you ferally hop into my Etsy messages. I think it's cool that you're getting dice for your players, though. That's really sweet. It's cool how D&D's can become so important, if that makes sense. I'm just trying to get the excess resin out of here. Holy fuck! Okay. What's that? What is that reaction image? What is that the reaction image I'm thinking of with the, like, kicking down the door? Oh man. I feel like I need to look that up now. I'm trying to remember what it says. I'm getting sidetracked, but yeah, that one. Okay, I'm glad we're thinking of the same thing. I don't feel like I have to look it up anymore. Okay, there's resin in this pipette from the last time I used it. Just clear resin. So this stream might end up a little bit longer than I expected, because for this one I am going to let it sit for quite a bit longer probably than these ones. So I'm going to do this part last, because what I'm testing here is letting the resin sit longer so that it gets a little bit thicker. Because so the issues that we've been having with the two different ones, although, like I said, looking back on it, I feel like that second set was actually better layered than I was thinking it was. So on the butterfly set, the large glitter like that, and actually just glitter in general, tends to sink to the bottom of the mold. That was an issue I had with some space dice I was making too, which I did finally. That's actually the set for the bunny here. I was making a space dice and I added a bunch of glitter to it, and I poured it immediately, and all of the glitter just sunk to the bottom of the mold, and there was none on the other side. So I waited until it was more goopy and put it into the mold, and it, there wasn't as much time, and it was harder for the glitter to move through the resin, so it didn't sink. but in the two that we're looking at here, there's the butterflies, and again, glitter tends to sink. So we did try it where we put the butterflies on, we stuck them to the inside of the mold. And we actually did that with some gold foil too, and it turned out really cool with the gold foil. We'll be doing that again. Let's see if I have a picture. I'm sure I have a picture of that on my phone too. I sent it to Teacup Beta, but let me find that. That's not what I want. I want my gallery. I have so many pictures of dice on my phone now. In the sanding process, it kind of sanded off the first layer of the gold and gave it like a really cool sort of texture. There you go, you can see. With the black, it just kind of shows through the black and gives it kind of a, yeah, like I said, a fun texture. So we're gonna be doing that again. But the butterflies I placed them on the outside of the mold, and so when I went to sand them, instead of them remaining dark blue like they were, the outside layer sanded off and made them silver. Which is not what we were going for. We were going for a dark blue. So the plan is to, again, wait until the resin is nice and thick so that things won't sink. They won't have enough time and it'll be too hard to move through the resin. And put the butterflies into the resin itself instead of attaching them to the side, and try to suspend them in the resin itself. And then, and we'll see how that goes. We'll see how it goes. And then for the other set, we are trying to layer some colors. We're trying to kind of get a wave, so we have a layer of purple, a layer of blue, and then a layer of clear. And I could just wait in between the different layers, but we kind of want them to be kind of flowing like a wave a little bit. But the problem with, well, the first set that I did, I was not thinking about it, and I poured the clear on top of the blue and the purple, and it completely displaced the blue and the purple and shot it up around the sides because I poured into the middle, which I just wasn't thinking about it. The second set, I piped it more gently in, like, kind of around the blue and the purple, and it worked a lot better. That was the photos that I showed before. Go back to those. But it still kind of shoved some of it up onto the sides. But like I said, I looked at them again. Looked at them again last night and realized, oh, actually most of these are pretty good. It's mostly just like the D20, and I think that some of it just displaced enough that it ended up kind of on the top, which isn't what we wanted. So we're gonna try also doing that when it's a little bit thicker, so that hopefully it's harder for the resin to move around and for the colors to mix with the clear as much. So, now there's still clear in here. Come on, get out. Let me just get this. I'm just trying to get this last little bit of resin out of this pipette, and then I can use it again. I'm glad that you get excited seeing the pictures of the dice. I want all of the dice that I make for people to end up how they want them. That's my ultimate goal. And that's why things have been taking longer than I initially was planning on. Like with the, you know, I didn't really think about it too much about the back and forth that was going to happen. Even though I did, you know, literally put it in the listing. Aww, that's so sweet. I'm glad you guys have been enjoying the work in progress photos. All right, okay. There's my pet. So I said about 15. We're gonna wait for this to set up more. I'm gonna just go set this underneath my name. You guys want to see the first commission I ever got before I start pouring everything. I'm gonna show you whether you do or not, but because I think I can get there faster than you can respond. Oh, here it is. This was the first one I got. It was for one based on Yellowstone National Park's Grand Prismatic Springs. I'm pretty happy with how those colors turned out. But that was the commission where that was the one where the person messaged me and said, "Hey, do you do dice commissions?" I'm like, "Oh, that's the thing I should set up." All right, let me get my equipment on, and I think we'll be good to go. Oh, hey, I can actually wear my glasses with this better than I thought. Okay, my gloves on. I'm gonna sound like Darth Vader for a bit. I think someone said Bane at one point. Sound off in the chat with what movie villain I sound like, because I'm wearing a respirator. Oh, I don't want to get resin on my shirt or my sweater. I'm not wearing my house sweater today. I'm wearing an actual nice sweater. Actually, just a second. The sweater's coming off, folks. I'm just going to take the sweater off so I can roll up my sleeves. Oh. You can see my stained white shirt instead. Ow. Excuse me a moment while I adjust my sleeves. I don't want resin on everything, and if I'm gonna get resin on something, I'd prefer getting it on the shirt that I have a stain on anyways. I need to get some new button downs. My white ones are so discolored. I've had them for a long while. That's not even. This needs one more. There we go. That's better. Ooh. Stuff on my glasses. Alright, now you can sound off in the chat with what movie villain I sound and or look like. Last time, I swear. It's on for real. I'm gonna take these off, put them in the way. So, dice experiments. Well, resin experiments. Alright. I'm gonna pull these out. I'm pulling out the little bottles because I'm doing such a small amount in return. What is that even from? Man, you know, I don't watch films. I like film and media and stuff, and I just don't watch enough films. And this is gonna make a mess, I know, as soon as I open it. Alright, so I'm gonna go for, oh, maybe I won't be, oh no, there we go. So 7.5 milliliter. Oh, there's a cat hair in there. There's always a cat hair. Okay, I got it. We're good. We're good, folks. Crisis averted. It will be just a moment until I can read the chat again. And I probably will go quiet in a moment because it's hard for me to focus on pouring and talk at the same time. I go back to that example of me trying to pour myself a cup of tea, forgetting what I was doing in the middle of pouring myself a cup of tea and spilling boiling water all over the counter. Because that's what I'm like. Don't know if that's an ADHD thing or just a me being way absent-minded thing. I got distracted by the thoughts in my own head, okay? I'm getting close here. I should probably just refill these little bottles with the larger bottles that I have. I did order more resin, actually. I was looking at different brands and stuff of resin. I finally just decided to go with the same kind because I know that works for me, and different ones have different viscosities and stuff. I think this is one of the thicker ones, actually. And I realized that for like stuff like the one that we're testing, where we want it to be thicker, a thinner one probably wouldn't work as well for me. So, alright, 7.5. And then this one up to 15. I'm so glad I got a degree in math so I can do things like count to 15. I guess technically my degree isn't in math, but alright. There's how much resin we're using. It's so much less than I feel like we normally do on these streams, but just don't need a lot this time. Let's see, Mad Max Fury Road. It's a good movie, but it's also... Oh yeah, I've seen... That's one that I was thinking of watching, actually. I saw stuff about the practical effects that they did in that, and I thought it was really cool. They did a lot of stuff with practical effects instead of CGI effects. Which I don't know. I'm a sucker for practical effects. CGI is good in certain scenarios. I was watching a different thing about CGI used in Lord of the Rings, and how effective it was because it didn't try to look like our everyday world necessarily. It's so good. And you're gay for Charlie. Charlotte. I only ever see her name written. I just realized I don't know how to say it. Is it Charlize? Charlize? I just realized I don't know. I just realized I don't know how to pronounce her name. Oh man. I know who that is, but I just realized I don't know how to pronounce her name. Oh, Charlize. Oh, okay. Charlize. That's how I would think Charlize. But yeah, I hadn't thought about it until right that second. I was actually thinking, this is kind of like that's almost like a post-apocalyptic kind of thing, isn't it? Because I was thinking the other day that I'm like, this respirator I feel like would be super useful to have in like a post-apocalyptic zombie apocalypse something sort of scenario. I guess, well, I was thinking about a pandemic, but I don't know, I'm not wearing this to the grocery store now, so. I really should figure out how often I need to replace the filters on this. I probably should do that sometime soon. wasn't originally planning on pressure potting these, but I think I will. Post-apocalyptic Australia hours. Yeah. I feel like it doesn't even need to be post-apocalyptic for it to be crazy in Australia driving across the desert, because oh boy, there's some big deserts with some things that want to kill you out there. Have you seen this movie as well, Teacup Beta, or are you just excited about post-apocalyptic Australia? They find a way. This is starting to get clear. Just a few streaks there. So one of the ways that I tell if it's mixed or not. It's hard for me to do in this because this is starting to get cloudy and stuff. But in the clear ones like this, I'll hold it up to the light, and I can see if there is kind of streaks in it. Let's see if I can show you if there's any streaks now. Can't really see all that well. It looks pretty clear to you, but you can kind of see just a little bit of a streak through it. And that means it's not completely mixed yet, and you need it to be completely mixed. You two are also gay for Charlie's then. Yeah, it's definitely still streaky. Doesn't look like it all that much from the top, but with the light behind it, you can definitely see it. I feel like you two need to just be like best friends in real life. It sure sounds like you guys are into the same things. Have good movie nights. Alright, we're getting closer here. I'd rather overmix it a little bit than undermix it, because I don't want... I'm just adding more bubbles by overmixing it, and I'm going to be putting it in a pressure pot, but if I undermix it, it won't cure. There's like a blue speck in here. What is that? Get out of there. Is that a piece of glitter? Probably a piece of glitter. There we go. Oh man. That is fair. That is fair. This just in, making friend connections, and this is a Twitch stream. You can start an online D&D game. There you go. Alright, that should be mixed. Yeah, it's definitely mixed. Okay. So, let's see, we did 15. Let me think about this. I'm going to do about a little bit less than... Just going to do a little bit of this one. And that one. A little bit in this one. Doing that over Discord. For some reason, so one, I can't pay attention to voice-only D&D games. For some reason, my Discord, like, it doesn't... My voice keeps cutting out. Like, I tried to have a chat with a friend earlier today, We've been both doing crafting stuff. We've been kind of meeting up for scheduling. And for some reason, my voice just, it cuts out all the time on Discord. And it doesn't do that for any of the other audio things. Like, we use Facebook call, I've done Zoom, that sort of stuff. It works fine on those. And I don't know why it doesn't work well on Discord. Yeah, our D&D group did try, we did, I think, one session on Discord after the quarantine started, and quite honestly, I don't know if they continued or not, but I just can't focus on it. And I've said it before, too, yeah. Exactly, bad Discord because you get distracted so easily. Oh, well, I definitely should not be part of that group if you don't want to disrail at the slightest distraction. Might need to rearrange the voice settings. Probably. I don't necessarily know enough about Discord and its voice settings to do that, so I need to figure that out. Okay, so a little bit less than 5, probably. Yeah, exactly. Facial cues. Oh, your computer can't run hard on everything using webcam. Well, I've said it before too. I like D&D because of the social aspect of it. I like being able to meet up with people for dinner and chat about what people have been doing that week. Have a reason to get together and like tell a story together. But also it's just an excuse to have dinner and hang out. So let's do maybe about 2.5 of each. So I want these to be about the same amount in each because I have to measure. I'm doing science, bitches. I'm doing science. Alright, I still have. Okay, well, just a second. We're gonna grab one more of these. Where did I set this? Oh, I didn't pull out more. Why didn't I pull out more? Second one. Yeah, see, I feel like I would do better over Zoom for D&D. I do better with it when I can see people. Okay, I do not. Well, to be fair, I read lips a lot. And yeah, body language is definitely important. Add a couple more, a little more in here. I'll make sure that these are about the same so that I have about the same pigmentation between the three. So we're going to go a little bit. Alright. And I got a little bit left in here. Oops. I think that must be enough for this. Well, okay, we're gonna go. Oh man. Okay, I'm going non-scientific. I want a little bit more for this one because I think this mold's going to take more. But really, it shouldn't be too big of an issue because I'm not really measuring in comparison to the resin. I'm measuring these in comparison to each other, so it should be okay. So, let's see. I'm going to grab a couple of stir sticks. So here's the plan. Oh, no. Oh, well, that's fine. So, do a drop of green in each. Oh, here, I'll show you the fun reaction that happens. So, it looks kind of blue there, but it's kind of greenish at the moment on the inside. It still looks blue. Well, it'll really look blue in a moment because it gets bluer and bluer as I mix it. Oh yeah, did you guys see that? It was kind of teal and then it went super blue. And I'll show you again. kind of teal, and as I mix it, it turns more and more blue. So it's just kind of weird. It goes from kind of a teal color to a blue color. So here's the plan. So there's that one, and this one. Oh! We're gonna do this one. No, this one's fine. So in yellow. So on the, oops, I just set those in my butterflies. No. Oh, fly away, butterflies. Leave it the cat hair over there. So this one I'm actually gonna do this one in the middle, I think. And help me keep these separate. So in this, what did I say I was gonna do? 1, 2, 3, and 5, I think. Is that what I said? Well, I'm gonna start with 1. And it's gonna have 5. Let's do 1, 3, and 5, I think. Alright. So this is 1 drop of yellow, this is 3 drops of yellow, and this is 5 drops of yellow in it, compared to 1 drop of the green, quote unquote. And we're going to see, so it's kind of greenish at the moment. It doesn't mix it, it just turns blue again. The thing is that it turns blue again, and then when it cures, it might turn more greenish again, so I'm not sure exactly. That was kind of what happened with that green crystal that I showed off before. So this looks very blue, but might be green, don't know. Alright, this has 3 drops of green. I feel like I should be making notes of this. I probably should. Get all that yellow stirred in. It's definitely taking longer for this to turn back to blue. And it's actually looking a lot more teal than the other blue was. So it is doing something at least. Yeah, so that's definitely more teal than the other one is. Yeah, you can kind of see. Well, one just looks darker than the other, but that's weird. They both look so blue. Let me see if, nope, they look blue there too. I mean, one of them is blue, but this one is a lot more teal. And let's see if how green this one is, or how green this one stays. Or if this one cures. Let's see if I added too much colorant to this one. Oh, this one actually looks pretty green. So this one might, maybe it'll stay this color. It's still kind of a tealy green, but this one's actually pretty green. And it's definitely still translucent, so that's good. Oh hey, should I add gold foil to this like I'm going to? See how it looks? I might as well, right? That's the eventual goal. Is going to be dark green dice with a little bit of gold foil in them. So let's try that with some rings. Doesn't hurt anything. Put that in there. That's quite a bit of gold, but we'll throw that in there. Throw that in there. Let's not drop the gold foil. That seems like a bad idea. So this one still looks pretty blue compared to the other ones. I'm going to mix this somewhat vigorously because I kind of want to break up that gold foil a little bit. Make it slightly smaller pieces. That's probably good. They're not tiny pieces, but it's broken up a little bit. Let's just grab one of these that looks the cleanest. It's so hard to keep silicone dust free and everything because everything sticks to it. It is why isopropyl alcohol is great, because it kind of wicks everything away from the silicone a little bit, makes it so it's no longer staticky and sticky. Great for getting like cat hair and dust and stuff off. Also, tape's good for getting glitter and things out. Like you just take a piece of tape and kind of dab it on the inside of the mold. Works well. Alright, let's get that piece of cat hair off. So much cat hair. I love my cats, but they leave too much hair everywhere. Alright. This will be fun. Problem with the rings can be a little difficult because it's hard to get the resin down in there. Packing tape and one mess of glitter. Was it last Christmas? It might have been. It was either last Christmas or the Christmas before. I got wrapping paper that had glitter on it, and I became the bane of everyone in my family's existence because I wrapped presents with it. Yeah. My brother was especially happy with that because there was glitter everywhere. You know, I don't think this one's gonna turn out green, but I think it's gonna be a pretty color. I don't know that the yellow did much of anything. All shall glitter, none shall pass. Alright. Give this a second to flow. Trying to let it flow down in there so we don't end up with big air bubbles underneath. Alright, we're gonna mix this up, get that gold broken up in here. I'm actually okay if there's a big chunk of gold to a certain extent because there's the big kind of top part here, so if there's a big chunk of gold in that might look kind of cool. This one looks a lot more teal. I don't know if it'll turn more green as it cures, but if it stays this color, I'm okay with that because it's pretty. I like this color. I was just about to blow in that, and that's not going to work. Like I said, isopropyl alcohol. I'm going to spray some in there. And then wipe it out with a Q-tip. Just going to clean it out. The nice thing about the isopropyl alcohol is it doesn't affect the curing of the resin, too. Can't use water with resin. That will mess up the curing process. That's why there's certain if you're going to try and use acrylic paint to color your resin, you have to use very little because it can make it so it won't cure. Certain pigments, I'm pretty sure the resin pigments that I have are somewhat similar. I think they might be water-based, I don't know. But you just don't want to use a lot because it will mess with the curing process. I mentioned that because I know Bosun was talking about making dice and stuff. Oh man, where did all this yellow come from? Oh man, why am I covered in yellow? Where did all this yellow come from? Oh no, it's not even glitter. You're not supposed to get everywhere. I may have just dyed this mold yellow, but that's okay. Alright, as long as it's clean, it doesn't matter. I'm gonna put this kind of tealy color in. Hopefully there's enough to, if not fill, at least get a whole ring shape in here. How dare you cast conjure yellow pigment on me? Me? Liz, the streamer? Was streaming for you? Maybe it was a wild magic effect. I did it to myself. Let's get this last little bit out of here. This one's much easier to pour into since I have a bigger space to drop it all. that. And then let's fix this up. I'm just kind of trying to break up that gold leaf a little bit. So, 1 drop, 3 drops, 5 drops. And then even if I did too much, I'll know, I should be able to kind of figure out comparatively if it's like too yellow or that sort of thing. Curse of jaundice, oh man. Alright, let's see here. Yeah, this actually looks green. I think it probably looks, yeah, it probably looks fairly blue for you guys. Yeah, it looks fairly blue for you guys, but it is actually fairly green for me, so I have high hopes. That was actually the campaign that my D&D group was running through before the quarantine hit, was Curse of Strahd. Oh man, why is there so much cat hair everywhere? I mean cats, but why? What are your DM's dice? Oh, okay, hello. Perfect. Did not, okay. Yes, I've figured out the right green. That's kind of too blue. I think this might be the way to go. It looks blue on the stream, but it's definitely green. Yeah. Yeah, it's just so hard to get a good green pigment. So hard to find a good green pigment these days. I might try and use this. Alright. I'm gonna just try using a pipette for this part. Okay, let's see if I can get this into the mold. It works kind of better if I can fill from the bottom so I don't end up with big air gaps in there. Yeah, that's working pretty well actually. Alright. Good. I'm glad that you like the color. I'm liking this color too. I think it's a nice kind of bright. It's a verdant green. It's a very lively green, if that makes sense. Which I am all for. Oops. Ah. Okay, come on. Character berries. Green objects for tape. Oh wow. Are you playing a warlock? Then because that's kind of a cool warlock backstory. Sorcerer Warlock combo. Oh, that's cool. I should try multi-classing more. Have I ever tried multi-class? I'm not sure I've ever tried multi-classing, guys. I'm not sure I ever have. Come on, go down in there. It's a little messy on top, but I can sand it. Alright. So there's the one with the moose green. I'll probably put the last little bit of green in one of these. Oh, wow. Have a nice day at lynch killing school, honey. Here, have a fireball. Oh, he's scared of fire. Wow. Whoops. Well, to be fair, Dragonborns can have different breath weapons and stuff. Not always fire, but that is still pretty ironic. Alright. Just gonna spray that with isopropyl alcohol and run that thing through it. It's gonna get all yellow, but that's okay. I just want to make sure there's not a whole bunch of cat hair in here again. Oh, cat hair! No! I hope you guys know I do everything in my power to keep cat hair from being in your dice. Alright. I'm just gonna shove the last few bits of the different greens into the same ring. Probably the same ring. I don't know how much left over there is. Everard's writhing tentacles or something like that. I really want to play a warlock. I have a whole plan for a warlock. I'm excited to play him. I think I mentioned him in a past stream. It's like the family patron. So he kind of acts more like a cleric almost, except that it's just his family's patron to a certain extent. It'll be understandable if there's cat hair in there. Speaking of cat hair. Yeah, the cats aren't allowed in this room for safety reasons, but they still managed to let me know that they're out there waiting. I mean, apart from just screaming outside the door, but you know, there's that too. Shove that gold leaf down in there. Alright, I just want to get a good green. Okay, that's actually nice and full. Make sure that gold leaf's shoved down in here. Yeah, I think this is going to end up more blue, but I like it with the gold leaf. Looks nice. All right, let's put this last little bit in here. Speaking of cats, I hear a cat toy out in the hall again. Alright. Yeah, this one's going to have a mix of the greenest green and the least green. I might have to grab another one actually too. Alright, that one's full. And let's mix. That one's in the middle. Oh, let's find. Here's another small one. I have to put more in. But yeah, I plan to make this green set of dice. When was that? I think next Wednesday on the stream, probably. I was going to message you when I once I knew when I was going to work on the dice. I'd probably do it on a stream and let you know, but that works out that you're already here. I think next Wednesday was my plan. I'd have to look at my planner, but I did schedule it in. So I'll check after this. Let's get this. I'm gonna use this last little bit of resin for something. It's not in a mold, but it's in the path of the mold. I do think this is a pretty combo though, the green and the gold foil. Sometimes there's something about just I don't want to say simple design, but like, I guess it's kind of a simple design. There's something about, it's just kind of a clean design of just one color and one thing in it. That's just appealing. My brother's always loved D&D. It has always been his, well, it's always been his special interest, but we grew up playing D&D. My dad used to run like one-shots for us, for the whole family, when we were kids. My mom would always play a cleric, I would always play a ranger, and he'd always play a fighter. But, so I started making dice, and I was like, hey, if I made you a set of dice, what do you want? And it's like, oh, I don't know. Which is fair, because that's like infinite possibilities right there. And it's like, what do I not have already, sort of thing. And so I was just messing around with, I don't think I have any on my hands, I just have yellow. Let's see if I have things here. I was just messing around with various, I was trying out some of my different things. So like, here's one I kind of dusted the gold onto the inside of the mold. Also, this was kind of fun because I inked it in black and then I inked it in white, so you can see the dark numbers on the inside. There's one in here. I don't know where it is. Oh, here it is. Where I was just trying out the iridescent flakes that I have. So it's just clear with iridescent flakes in it. And he's like, yes, that's what I want. And so the dice that I made for him are just clear resin with iridescent flakes in them. Because he was like, I don't have a set of dice like that already. I don't have a lot of clear sets. I don't have a lot of just white sets. And it's just, they look, they're simple in their design. It's just one thing in the resin, but they look very kind of elegant. Elegant's a good word for it. Yeah, they look very elegant. All right. I'm setting those down on here because they're easier to peel up than they are to get out of the cups. All right. This is still, well, I actually guess they knots fairly well. So these are the two with the glow powder in them. Maybe I will test actually. So I wasn't adding a drop directly, I added a drop to the stick because I don't really want a full drop in here because there's really not a lot of resin. And that will hopefully dilute it, well, not dilute it, but it'll add a little bit less so it won't be as bright. Blue. Because I want to see how the actual colors look with the, I want to make sure that this pink doesn't discolor the purple too much. Yeah, and an actual drop of the purple. This purple is not super, it's a pretty purple, but it's not super pigmented. I think maybe I just need to mix it more, to be fair. And this is kind of it's rose, but it's kind of a purplish pink, which I think looks nice with the purple. The purple can look kind of grapey on it, like grape-ish on its own. And you can kind of see there, it looks kind of grapey. It's not, it's good in some scenarios, but it just didn't look quite attractive for what I was going for. Okay, actually, it works well with the, it seems to work well with the pink powder. It doesn't seem to have really discolored it or anything. And another drop of the rose, actually. So I'm gonna sit here for a minute and wait for these to, oh, I like that purple. I'm gonna sit here for a minute and wait for these to get thicker. So I want these to be, oh, should I add some iridescent flakes to this? Let's see. No, I'm just gonna do the butterflies. I want to be able to see the butterflies. So I'm gonna sit here and wait for these to thicken up a little bit. Grab something to. This is gonna be my test of how thick it is. Yeah, it's still fairly liquidy. It streams off of there pretty well. Oh, all right. Oh, here, just let me check to make sure I have the pressure pot ready to go. Yeah, okay. So we're good on that regard. The pressure pot's good to go. Oh man, yellow everywhere. It's nice though, I don't actually have resin everywhere, which is good for a change. Oh wow, we've been sitting here for 3 hours. Oh, here, let me look at my planner while we're waiting, since I don't seem to be covered in resin, so that's good. Okay, what was my plan here? Yeah, I'm planning to make the green with the gold dice, with the gold flakes on Wednesday. So this next Wednesday. Don't know what I'll do on that Saturday. Depends on probably commissions and that sort of stuff. But if not, I don't have anything else planned. I'll probably take chat suggestions for dice to make. I have a few things that I want to try out. I have a whole bunch of like resin scraps, because the kind of molds that I use, you end up with just kind of thin layers of resin. Let me grab those. I have my planner on top of that at the moment. It's a good thing you guys can't see off the screen. It's a mess over here. It's not a super mess, but so I end up with all sorts of scraps of resin. This is all, the things left at the bottom of the cups. This is from a mold. And I have all these different scraps, and I've done pieces of like jewelry and stuff before where I cut them up into little pieces and I mix them with like iridescent flakes and some of the gold foil and that sort of stuff, and make kind of like these confetti almost pieces. I think it'd be fun to do a set of dice like that. Oh no, you need to head out, Bosun? We're just finishing up, waiting for this to set. So if you need to head out, go get some sleep. I'm glad you could make the stream though. It's always fun to see people in the chat. Ooh, that's kind of a fun purple color. Yeah, and hopefully you can stop by on Wednesday too and see the actual set of dice getting made. That's the plan. That's the plan. We should have the greens figured out by then. Oops, I'm once again spreading the butterflies everywhere because I'm not paying attention. Uh-oh, where did the fifth one go? Oh no, there it is, it's just stuck to my finger. I found it. Wait. They seem to have reproduced because there's 6 now. No, 7! Oh no! Where are all these butterflies coming from? Free the butterflies! But no, they're getting away! At the end of the stream, the butterflies and the rabbits team up. Spoiler alert, but I'll move that so we can see the chat better.
liking having the chat on the screen. That's nice. I'm thinking I kind of want to add like a I don't know, like a most recent follower, or maybe number, like a follower's goal or something, because that'd be fun. But at the same time, I don't mind having just a few people in the chat, because it's fun chatting, and I feel like it's easy to keep up with the number of people. It's starting to get a little bit thicker, but it's still not quite to the point where I want it. Oh, actually, I'll probably add these two now and then just wait for the whole thing to thicken up. Where it is, here's the one I was gonna, oh no, yeah. We'll see how well this works. There's little enough that I don't know how well a pipette will work. We'll find out, but the opening's so small, it'd be very difficult to pour. So, oh hey, should we, well, I'm waiting for things to cure up actually. Should we see how well these glow? Let's do that. I'll pull out my lamp again. I don't want to get resin on here. Just a second. I'll turn it on. Alright, let me charge these up. Oh hey, the butterflies I think would probably glow under black light, because they're definitely, you know, oh, I guess UV light does also have fluorescent light, and it doesn't, because I definitely have things that are fluorescing right now. Grimble, butter felons. We'll figure it out, I'm sure. We'll figure it out. Oh wait, there's more butterflies over here. No. Wait a minute. We added the pink to one of these, didn't we? Why are they both glowing blue? Just a second here. Just a second here. Something's weird. Ooh. Okay, you guys watched me add the pink to the purple cup, right? Just a second here. Just a second here. Something's weird. Okay, so this is the blue cup, this is the purple cup. They both are glowing blue. Why are they both glowing blue? Why are they both glowing blue, guys? Okay, here's the pink. I can see the pink. I'm gonna try adding a little bit more and see what happens. I want to see if it changes anything, because that is so bizarre to me. Okay, I'm adding more pink. I can see that it's pink. I'm going to. We're gonna see if we can see some sort of chemical reaction here, because it's. Okay. Okay, I can see that it's pink. I don't know that you guys can, but because it's so bright. Okay, I think it's far enough away. You can kind of see the pink in there. Let's see if we can mix that up and see what happens. Okay, mix that pink in. Okay, mixing that pink in. Hold that over there. And it's glowing blue! I'm so confused! Did it have some sort of reaction with the other pigments in here? Wait, is it? Oh, this is glowing blue. Here, I'm gonna move you away from the. Yeah, you can kind of see. It's kind of hard to see, but it's glowing blue, guys. I don't know why. That's so strange. Hold on, let me turn the light back on. Let me turn the light back on. I'll try not to trip over everything this time. Huh. Maybe you won't end up with two different I don't know. I'm so confused. It's so bizarre. They look almost exactly this. That's what I'm wondering. I'm wondering if it's a reaction with the resin or a reaction with the pigments. That's so strange. Well, you know, we still have a little bit of time. Let me try the other pink. Let me try the other pink. See what it does. What's the other one? Pink red? Because I don't remember which one of these. That's the right one. Okay, because the one that, because here's the magenta. Let me throw that into there as well. All right. Okay, that one's orange. That's not what I want. So let's try the pink and see if it works any better. See if it reacts with the resin or something. That's so bizarre. All right, let's see if this does anything. So this one's labeled pink. We're just experimenting tonight anyway, so add some of that. You saw that it glowed pink, and we'll mix that up in there. Maybe I should add some more to try and counteract the blue. And add a little bit more, just in case I need to counteract the blue. Just a little bit. Doesn't usually take a lot of pigments, but let's see if this changed the let's see if that changed it at all. Huh. It's still it's still kind of bluish, but I think that might be from the other blue because it looks kind of almost purplish. It's kind of speckled. So I think that pink might work. Yeah, it's kind of a speckly sort of blue purple. That's so weird. Okay, well, just a second. Well, I'm gonna try one more thing then. We're gonna have three little colors in here because I'm gonna try some of that pink on its own. Oh, it's starting to set up a little bit, so we're getting close. Yeah, that's definitely starting to set up a little bit more. Let's see how this does on its own. I'm still gonna add the purple, drop of the purple dye to it as well, because I want to see if that affects it. Yeah, I wonder if it's like, yeah, I don't know what's causing it. It's so weird. I wonder if, I wonder if one of these fluoresces or something, and it's affecting the glow. Okay, yeah. Try to add some purple and pink to this one as well. I just want to see if it affects the glow of this. Because if this works, then we'll go with this color, and if it doesn't work, I'll probably just stick with the aqua throughout. But that's because it's just, oh, those are blue ones. That's from the last time I did this. Sorry, I just found butterflies. I think maybe those are ones that escaped from last time. All right, let's see if this glows. See if this one glows pink. Okay, that's glowing pink. Is it? No. That's also glowing blue. It's also glowing blue. What? Why? That's so strange. Okay. I think maybe we're going to end up going with the... I mean, it's a slightly different blue. It's a slightly different blue than the aqua, but I think we're just going to go with the aqua for those dice, because I don't know why it's, this is why I test things. This is because I don't know why it's showing up as blue. It's got to be the pigments it's with or something. Okay, let me put this in. We're getting to a point where it's starting to get thicker. Oh man, I added so much glow powder, it's grainy. It was a surprising twist in the third act, but yes, it appears that our villain is actually the resin itself now. So, it surprised us all. Yeah. Alright, this isn't actually really a test of the layers or anything. I'm just trying to, because of the container this is going into, I really don't have a great way to... come on. Yeah. Because of the container this is going into, I don't necessarily have a great way to test the layering like we're going to do with the dice. Now that I'm thinking about it, I could have just tried this in a dice mold. I made individual dice molds. I don't know why I'm doing it in this. What am I thinking? What was I thinking, guys? I could just make a D20 or something. Why not? Let's do that. Let's make a D6. They don't take as much as D20. But we can still test it. Just gonna do that instead. Alright, let's move that forward so you can see it a little bit better. Yeah, I'll have to do some more experimentation with the glow pigments, but I think it's gotta be because I'm mixing it with the other colors. I probably should have tested it before I put in the resin pigments over here, but alright, let's put this in there. Yeah, we'll throw this purple in there. Not exactly the same purple, but oh well. It's very close. I don't know that I'll be able to get the purple out of the sphere here, so I think it's just gonna get cured in there, and I'll add more stuff to it later. Add some blue. I don't want to add too much of this, quite honestly, because I want to be able to test the butterflies, but I think they'll be okay. There's not actually a lot here. Yeah, that's kind of a pretty colored swirl. It's so dark, it's hard to see. Come on, show up, show up. There's so much glare. It's so shiny. Oh well. This looks a little bit of blue in here. Alright. Okay. Yeah, this one. I am going to use a pipette for this, because I do want to keep that at the bottom. Oh yeah, it's definitely set up a lot more. It's nice and thick now. I think we're probably in that sweet spot. So many crimes tonight. I feel like the theme for this stream has been be gay, do crimes. Which seems fitting somehow. It's just like the 2020 mood. Alright, let's look at this a little bit on top. I can probably scoop it in. It's just your MO. Whenever Jen shows up. We know how it's gonna go. Be gay, do crimes. I don't actually have enough resin for this. Oh well. Maybe I should have added that little bit. Oh well. That's okay. Doesn't have to be a full D6. Oh, I just need to have enough to test. Okay. Okay. Alright. I'm gonna try. Okay, so I have a couple of blue ones left over from the last time. So I'm gonna try two different things. I'm gonna take these blue ones. I'm gonna try placing them into the resin. See what happens. And then I'm gonna take the pink ones. I'm gonna place them on top of the resin and see what happens. So I'll place these blue ones, kind of down where I want them. Because this is. Alright, and then I'm going to take these pinkish ones, I'm just going to place them on top. And we see what they do. Maybe just three of those. Just three of those on top. And there's not actually enough here to do a full D6, but that's fine. To be fair, I can always add clear later on top and add the lid if I want to. Alright, I think that's all of our experiments for the night. We have our 3 different greens, our 1 drop, our 3 drops, and our 5 drops. We've got our butterflies. We've got a couple of spare rings because I had extra. I just need to save more clear. Oh well. So I think we've made our 2 bunnies. So I think that's pretty much everything for tonight, guys. I'm probably gonna head out so I can go put these in the pressure pot. But thanks for stopping by. It's always fun when you guys are hanging out in the chat. I always appreciate it. I'll have to get more wizard lore from you next time, Jen. I didn't get enough wizard lore this stream, but I'll see you guys later. Hopefully I can see you guys on Wednesday. If not, that's cool. But I look forward to chatting more later.